Shalom, family. Tonight, we remember. This isn't just history. This is his story. Written in blood, carved in stone, and sealed in prophecy. Because before we can walk in inheritance, we must first recover our memory. The Most High told us plain in Deuteronomy 32 and verse 7. Remember the days of old. Consider the years of many generations. Ask thy father, and he will show thee. Thy elders, and they will tell thee. Remember the ships. Remember the chains. Remember the rise and the fall, the glory and the captivity. Because every part of it, every exile, every scattering was written long before we lived it. In Baruch chapter 2 verse 30, for I knew that they would not hear me, because it is a stiff-necked people. But in the land of their captivities, they shall remember themselves, and shall know that I am the Lord their God. For I will give them a heart and ears to hear. And that's what this class is. Remembrance in captivity. History, not taught by the conqueror, but reclaimed by the heirs. Our enemies plotted against that remembrance. Psalms 83 exposed it. Psalms chapter 83 and verse 3. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people and consulted against thy hidden one. They have said, come, and let us cut them off from the nations, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. They tried to bury the name. They erased our tongue, changed our lands, rewrote our legacy. But prophecy said the remnant would awaken. And the remnant is here. Now we rise as witnesses of time. The same ones written off as slaves now stand as scribes of truth. For as Wisdom of Solomon chapter 5 verse 1 declares, then shall the righteous man stand in great boldness before the face of such as have afflicted him and made no account of his labors. They didn't account for the prophecy. They didn't account for the promise. But the heirs, we remember. We remember our forefathers who walked through fire and flood. We remember the temple, the covenant, the songs of Zion. We remember that no matter how many empires rose and fell, the Most High never broke his word. Because even in bondage, he said in Isaiah 44 verse 21, remember these, O Jacob and Israel. For thou art my servant, I have formed thee. Thou art my servant, O Israel. Thou shalt not be forgotten. Forgotten by man? Yes. Forgotten by God? Never. So tonight, as we open up the scrolls of history, we do it not as victims, but as heirs. Heirs reclaiming what the world tried to erase. Heirs piercing back together the mosaic of truth. Heirs rising from the dust of deception to the throne of remembrance. Because history is not just about what happened, it's about who it happened to. Tonight, the heirs of Israel remember who they are. Stay tuned. We'll start shortly. Shalom, family. Shalom. Peace and blessings. Peace and blessings. Welcome to Thursday's class. All praise to the Most High. Facebook and YouTube, good. All praises. All praises. What's going on, my brother? Brother Judah. Shalom. Shalom. Peace and blessings. Peace and blessings. We're going to get started here in a moment, man. Welcome to Thursday's history. Title of today's class is Suffering Wrongly Historically. Okay. Suffering wrongly historically. So we went over the prophecy Tuesday. Today we're going to solidify that thought with actual examples and things of that nature. Then we're going to go from there. All right. We gotta consider a few things. Our suffering is not just one thing or one way. Okay, we suffer many ways. We suffer wrongly on a day-to-day basis. Okay, that's par for the course. But some suffering is discipline because we violated the covenant that the Most High, gave us and us alone, right? Some suffering is wrongful affliction. That's going to become evidence against each and every one of our oppressors. And we're going to talk about that today. Okay. One thing we can't do, we can't confuse the two. Because confusing the two destroys prophetic understanding. Okay, it destroys it. It kind of dumbs it down, so to speak. It makes the record that's sealed in the books almost seem to be inaccurate. Okay, but that's enough of that. We're gonna get started here. Again, when I get a thumbs up, we got good audio, good video. Let's make sure we got good audio and video. Good audio and video, and we're gonna jump right into it. Shalom, family, peace and blessings. Shalom, shalom. All praises. All right, everybody, let's stand. Let's face the east. Sisters, cover your heads. Brothers, uncover your heads. Israel, blow trumpets. Most High God, God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, righteous judge of heaven and earth, we come seeking understanding, Father. Open the laws, open the prophets, open the historical records, Father. Let us discern between correction and cruelty, between covenant discipline and wrongful oppression. Teach us to read history as covenant enforcement and as courtroom evidence, Lord. Let truth establish judgment and let judgment establish our understanding. We ask that you bless those that may be sick, bless those that may be hurt, bless those that may lack wisdom, bless those that need you, Lord. Cover us, Father, with your word. Cover us with your wisdom. Endow us with your discipline, Father. Strengthen the nation of Israel as we hear your word, Father, as we take heed and hearken unto your word, Lord. Continue to guide us and strengthen us. Put a hedge of protection around us and put the zeal, the fire to remove evil, the fire to remove this wrath in the hearts and minds and spirits of your brothers and sisters, and teach each and every one of us that we're not alone in this walk. Strengthen us, Father, in the precious name of your Son, Jesus Christ. Amen. Amen. All praise to the Most High. All praises. All praises. All right. Two types of suffering. Okay. As we learned on Tuesday's class, is judicial, which is actually called discipline, right? And it's caused or brought about by us breaking the commandments, man, by us sinning, right? And the judicial suffering is justified, right? That discipline is justified because it's judgment to make us get in line, okay? It's corrective. It's corrective. And it's because God is judging us, man. The wrath of God is upon us. That's clear. That's clear. And the purpose, what is the purpose? Repentance.
Okay. When you read Deuteronomy 28:15, you know why we're going through it. When you read Daniel 9 and 11, Baruch 2 and 6, okay, reading and really understanding the mind of God, we realize why we're in the predicament that we're in. So you have the right or judicial judgment, which is, discipline. Then you have the wrongful suffering. And that suffering right there, the things that we're going through, man, is documentation against the nations. Okay. And wrongful suffering, believe it or not, is caused by your righteousness. It's caused because you're righteous. Okay. And it's used as evidence. God is building the case against the nations, against our oppressors, against those that hate us, right? And the purpose of that wrongful suffering is to bring forth judgment to the nations. These things gotta happen to us. These things have to transpire, because if we don't suffer wrongfully, if we don't go through these things, then when the Lord brings judgment upon the nations, he'll be wrong. He'll be made a liar. Okay? So these things have to happen. But understanding us, understanding our God, understanding our judgment, right? We know ain't no nation suffered like us. Ain't no nation went through nothing that we went through. No nation struggled like we struggled. A lot of people say, well, you can't pinpoint who Israel is. Like, it's a whole big argument about trying to solidify who the 12 tribes are, where they located, this, that, and third. And people are, bugging out of their mind saying, well, you can't say definitively who's who and what's what. I beg to differ. The scripture says that ain't no nation suffered like us. Whether it's wrong or it's through discipline, no nation has suffered like us. Okay? Not one. And we're going to read about that. Let's go to Lamentations chapter 1 real quick. Lamentations chapter 1 and verse 12. Is it nothing to you, all ye that pass by? Behold, and see if there be any sorrow like unto my sorrow, which is done unto me, wherewith the Lord hath afflicted me in the day of his fierce anger. There's no sorrow, there's no judgment, there's no affliction, there's no suffering in this earth that's comparable to the suffering that happened unto Israel, that happened unto Jerusalem. Okay? No nation can put themselves into that. No nation can paint themselves or graft themselves into that suffering, although they tried. Okay? They try to make some fictitious concentration camps. They tried to do mass killings and things of that nature. All right? Calling it genocide. Nah, it's a squabble between people of their own nation, their own race. Now from there, let's go to Lamentations 2. Lamentations 2 and verse 13. Ain't no nation suffered like us, man. That's one way to solidify who's who. Just look at history. Go throughout all times. Who suffered like the children of Israel, the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and natives? Who suffered like us? Lamentations chapter 2 and verse 13. What things shall I take to witness for thee? What things shall I liken to thee, O daughter of Jerusalem? What shall I equal to thee, that I may comfort thee, O virgin daughter of Zion? For thy breach is great like the sea. Who can heal thee? So our destruction, our demise, our hurt, our pain, no nation, no peoples have felt it like we felt it. The suffering that came upon the children of Israel, no nation has felt that thing, man. It says, for the breach is great like the sea. Our destruction, our breach, our separation is great like the sea. No nation under the whole heavens have been destroyed like us. That's a good sign right there. And when I say good sign, it's not good that, you know what I'm saying, that happened to our people. I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is that's a good indicator of who's who. A pretty good indicator. Okay. From there, let's go to Daniel 9 and verse 11. Daniel chapter 9 and verse 11. Yea, all Israel have transgressed thy law, even by departing, that they might not obey thy voice. Therefore, the curse is poured upon us. And the oath that is written in the law of Moses, the servant of God, because we have sinned against him. So, the oath that was written, what was it written? Deuteronomy 28. Okay. It says, therefore, the curse is poured upon us. That thing is on us. That thing is on us. Verse 12. And it says, that is confirmed. Verse 12. And he hath confirmed his words. He's confirmed it. So that Deuteronomy 28, verse 46, they should be upon thee for a sign and for a wonder, and upon thy seed forever. These words were confirmed, right? Which he spake against us and against our judges that judged us, by bringing upon us a great evil. For under the whole heaven have not been done as hath been done upon Jerusalem. So no nation under heaven has ever suffered like we have. No nation under heaven has ever been through the atrocities that we had to face, or we had to overcome or live through. Okay? No nation. From there, let's go to Baruch chapter 2 real quick. Baruch chapter 2 and verse 27. O Lord our God, thou hast dealt with us after all thy goodness, and according to all that great mercy of thine, as thou spakest by thy servant Moses in the day when thou didst command him to write thy law before the children of Israel, saying, if ye will not hear my voice, surely this great multitude shall be turned into a small number among the nations, where I will scatter them. So the covenant, the enforcement of the covenant, that language is heard and written and understood in Deuteronomy. And it's referenced here. See, our suffering scale is contractual. How we suffer, the extent of our suffering, it's contractual, and it's not accidental. What we went through, the evils that we've seen, that we face today, the plight of our people, how destroyed we are, how broken down and dilapidated we are. Okay, that's not accidental, man. And you got to understand this. The people that don't have a covenant, they don't have no comparable judgment. So it's no way in hell that they can fit the curses. There's no way that they can fit anything that's prophesied in regards to the scriptures as it pertains to the children of Israel. Okay? And that sets the framework for all history that follows. So we know, based upon suffering and suffering alone, just based upon suffering, we know who the children of Israel are. Based upon that that contract or covenant that the Lord made with us, right? So let's talk about a little bit of that, because we gotta establish a continuous, like, legal record of innocent blood and blood that's worthy of suffering. Okay, we got to talk about that thing. So let's go to Exodus 2. Exodus 2 and verse 13. Exodus chapter 2 and verse 13. Now, Moses was a young man. He came of age. Okay. He came of age and he cared for his people. Although he didn't dwell amongst them, right? Although, he was raised by Pharaoh, the daughter of Pharaoh, in the house of Pharaoh, he still had this love for his people that transcended his situation or his environment, right? And one day he seen one of his own getting afflicted by an Egyptian. Seen him getting afflicted by an Egyptian, and he had to say something, man. He had to do. He couldn't not say nothing. He could not say nothing. And the love that he had for his people was so much stronger than the love that he had even in the house in which he was raised, that he dealt with the people of Pharaoh, the Egyptians. He dealt with them a certain way. He killed them for his brother's sake. Now, what his brother did the day after is very telling. Watch this. Exodus 2 and verse 13. And when he went out the second day, behold, two men of the Hebrews strove together. So now these two brothers, they fighting against each other. They're striving against each other. It's no longer with the Egyptian. It's with each other. Watch this. And he said to him that did the wrong, wherefore smitest thou thy fellow? So you're like, yo, why are you smiting your brother? Why are you going against your brother? Why are you striving against your brother? Right? Verse 14. And he said, who made thee a prince and judge over us? Who made thee a prince and judge over us? That's a heavy statement that he made right there. Not knowing that God had did that already. God made Moses that leader. God made Moses that prince, that guide to the people. Right? But when they looked at him, they didn't see him as anything. They didn't recognize this man as the righteous, as the holy, right? It says, they said, who made thee a prince and judge over us? Intendest thou to kill me as thou killest the Egyptian? Now, just by them saying that alone, think about this for a second. By them mentioning that, man, they were signing his death warrant. They were signing that man death warrant, man. Just by them saying that. And do you think they cared? Not at all. Not at all. Okay. They said, intendest thou to kill me as thou killest the Egyptian? And Moses feared and said, surely this thing is known. So they was trying to tell on the man. They was snitching on this man. He was helping them out. This is what our people do. He was helping them out. What they do? Snitched on him. They told on him. They told on that man. Okay. And that's the harsh reality of how people get down. Especially if you tell them something that they don't like or something that they don't want to hear. Ooh, they're gonna be against you heavy. They're gonna be against you heavy. Okay. And all the good that you thought to have done to them, all the help that you thought that you've done to them, they're gonna cause pain and suffering, agony, even amongst your own. Okay, even amongst your own. So we hurt each other, oftentimes for no reason. When you look at the history of David and Saul, right, in 1 Samuel, David had to see. He had to see for himself that Saul was trying to kill him. He had to see, he had to understand. He suffered many things, man. But to be loyal to someone, to be a brother to someone, to not do any evil to a brother or sister, and then they requite all the goodness that you've done as evil to them, man, that's a bad feeling. That's a bad feeling. And that's what happened with in that instance. Okay. David was persecuted. He was innocent. He ain't did nothing wrong. He ain't did nothing wrong, but Saul sought his life. He wanted to kill him. He had to see in the instant. He had to understand in that instance where the Lord delivered him into his hands. He understood something. I'm gonna read that real quick because that thing was heavy, man. That situation, that instance, that he came to the realization. Because remember, he wasn't gonna touch Saul. He said, Saul is the anointed of God. I'm not gonna touch him. But when he saw this, the Lord allowed his eyes to be opened. Watch this. 1 Samuel chapter 24 and verse 9. And David said to Saul, wherefore hearest thou men's words, saying, behold, David seeketh thy hurt. Behold, this day thine eyes have seen how that the Lord had delivered thee today into mine hand in the cave. And some bade me kill thee. So he said, you seen for yourself how the Lord delivered you into my hands. And some of the brothers said, kill him, put him to death. Remember the scripture says, touch not mine anointed, right? Touch not mine anointed and do my prophets no harm. Well, the Lord delivered Saul into the hands of David now. So David would have been justified if he heard him. He said, and some bade me kill thee, but mine eye spared thee. And I said, I will not put forth my hand against my Lord, for he is the Lord's anointed. He knew the Lord wasn't dealing with him no more. He honored him. Even though he was being persecuted, even though he was driven into a doggone cave. Even though death, he suffered the possibility of being put to death and things of that nature. He still had that honor. He still had honor. And all that Saul did was actually against himself. It wasn't even about David. Most times the suffering, again, is an indictment on the person who's causing it. Okay? It's an indictment on the person who's doing or coming against the people. Right? Verse 11. Moreover, my father, see the skirt of thy robe in my hand? For in that I cut off the skirt of thy robe and kill thee not. Know thou and see that there is neither evil nor transgression in mine hand. So the brother did no wrong. Persecuted, but did no wrong. He said, I could have killed you. God delivered you into my hand. I spared you because you are the anointed of God. Know thou and see that thou is neither evil nor transgression in my hand, and I have not sinned against thee. Yet thou huntest my soul to take it. I spared you, and you're hunting my soul. You're trying to kill me. You still want me dead. I have no ill will, no ill intent. Okay? And you still want to see me suffer. You don't want to stop until you have my soul, until you kill me. That's what David is saying, man. That's what David is saying. Oftentimes, the righteous, they're hunted like dogs. They suffer many things. They suffer many evils, many perils. I know y'all are drunken of that cup. A lot of you brothers and sisters, man. Y'all go through a lot of things. We go through much evil in today's society. Okay, we go through much wickedness, man. I know y'all have experienced it at some point or another, right? Let's go. Let's get some more. Let's get some more examples. Let's go to 1 Kings chapter 19. 1 Kings chapter 19. We're going to start at verse 1. First Kings chapter 19, verse 1. And Ahab told Jezebel all that Elijah had done. Elijah the prophet. This brother did no wrong, no evil, right? Or did he? Let's see. And with all how he had slain all the prophets with the sword. He slain all the prophets with the sword. Then Jezebel sent a messenger unto Elijah, saying, so let the gods do to me, and more also, if I make not thy life as the life of one of them by tomorrow about this time. I'm gonna kill you like them. And when he saw that, he arose and went for his life and came to Bathsheba, which belongeth to Judah, and left his servant there. But he himself went a day's journey into the wilderness, came and sat down under a juniper tree. And he requested for himself that he might die, and said, it is enough. Now, O Lord, take away my life, for I am not better than my fathers. And as he lay and slept under a juniper tree, behold, then an angel touched him and said unto him, arise and eat. And he looked, and behold, there was a cake baking on the coals, and a cruse of water at his hand. And he did eat and drink, and laid him down again. And the angel of the Lord came again the second time, and touched him, and said, arise and eat, because the journey is too great for thee. And he arose, and did eat and drink, and went in the strength of that meat 40 days and 40 nights unto Horeb, the mount of God. And he came thither unto a cave and lodged there. And behold, the word of the Lord came to him. And he said unto him, what doest thou here, Elijah? And he said, I have been very jealous for the Lord God of hosts, for the children of Israel have forsaken thy covenant, thrown down thine altars, and slain thy prophets with the sword. And I, even I only, am left, and they seek my life to take it away. So he was the last of the Mohicans, so to speak, the last of the righteous, or so he thought. Or so he thought. Okay, but this man was hunted by the evil counsel, the evil leadership. Okay, suffering, and you know the worst type of suffering, thinking that you suffering alone. He thought he was by himself. He thought he suffered by himself, man. Our forefathers, when you look at the accounts of us historically, before even Paul and all the Acts of the Apostles, man, the prophets, they were getting thrown in jail, they was getting beat, they were getting murdered. Much evil came our way, much oppression, much suffering. Much suffering. From there, let's go to Jeremiah. Jeremiah, that brother ain't do nothing but try to bring forth the understanding of God. Try to teach the truth to the people. What'd they do? Let's see. Jeremiah chapter 37, verse 15. Wherefore the princes were wroth with Jeremiah, and smote him, put him in prison, in the house of Jonathan the scribe, for they had made that the prison. So they made Jonathan's house a prison. Jonathan the scribe, they made his house a prison. Watch this. When Jeremiah was entered into the dungeon and into the cabins, and Jeremiah had remained there many days, they locked that brother up for a long time. They imprisoned his brother. They threw him in the doggone dungeon for many days. Y'all know how cold, how disgusting, how unsanitary these places are? So they took him to the dungeon at Jonathan's house, right? Jonathan the scribe's house. Then they took him there many days. Then they took him to another. Watch this. Jeremiah 38, verse 6. Then took they Jeremiah and cast him into the dungeon of Malchiah, the son of Hamelech, that was in the court of the prison. And they let down Jeremiah with cords, and in the dungeon there was no water, but mire. So Jeremiah sunk in the mire. Y'all know what mire is? Mire is dung. It's dirt. He sunk in the mire. He sunk in there. They lowered him down into it. It was wet. It was soggy. It was disgusting. It was dirty. Okay? Dirty and disgusting. He couldn't get out of it. He couldn't climb up out of that thing. They lowered him down. Imagine a prison where they gotta lower you down into that thing. You can't just walk in and out of the gate. Even if you tried to escape, you would have to climb all the way through the opening to get out. They had him in a dungeon, a prison like that, man. Imagine how dark it was, how disgusting it was, how funky it was. Ooh. I'm telling you, man, this is all for the sake of the truth. It was all for the sake of righteousness. It wasn't that this brother did no evil. No evil. The Lord put the spirit, and it's scary, man. Having the spirit of the Lord upon you in the face of men, that thing is a fearful thing to some. It's a fearful thing to some, man. Why? Because all these atrocities gonna happen to you. All these sufferings. You signing up for that. This is what you sign up for. Okay? Especially you leaders, you men. This is what you sign up for. Imagine being lowered down into the pits of a dungeon. Imagine that thing. And the only is no water. It's just dirt and dung. It's just disgusting down there. Let's get some more. Let's go to 2 Chronicles. 2 Chronicles chapter 24. But as we learned in Tuesday's class, it's prophesied that we will suffer these things. So don't think it's strange. These evils, these atrocities, these sufferings that we go through. Don't think it's strange, man. 2 Chronicles chapter 24 and verse 20. And the Spirit of God came upon Zechariah, the son of Jehoiada, the priest, which stood above the people, and said unto them, Thus says God, why transgress ye the commandments of the Lord, that ye cannot prosper? Because ye have forsaken the Lord, he hath forsaken you. Okay, he hath also forsaken you. And they conspired against them, and stoned him with stones at the commandment of the king in the court of the house of the Lord. So he's telling them, he's convicting them, you broke the commandments of God. You broke the commandments. Why are you transgressing the commandments? They stoned him in the house of the Lord. They stoned him right where he stood, correcting them. Our people hate correction, don't they? Verse 22. Then Joash the king remembered not the kindness which Jehoiada his father had done to him, but slew his son. And when he died, he said, the Lord look upon it and require it. So he tried to blame that thing on the Lord, man. He tried to blame that thing on the Lord. I'm telling you, our people are disgusting. Caused this man his father Jehoiada did so much good for this brother, he ignored all of that. All he saw was red. So not only did he kill this man who was doing nothing but righteousness, trying to help the people, he caused his father to suffer. He caused his father to suffer, his so-called friend to suffer. Y'all know how many times that happens? How many times it's occurred? You had friends or family or a friend of the family get put to death. I seen this dude, it was a case where his brother had a best friend playing basketball with her, real close. And she was clowning him because she beat him in basketball. He killed his best friend and destroyed their family. They treated him like a son, destroyed the family. Our people most times in the heat of rage and things of that nature, our people, they don't care about who suffers. They don't care about right or wrong, not in those instances. Okay? They don't care. Then you got righteous men and women just doing the work of the Lord. Our people, our people and the nations, they work in tandem, man. They work in tandem to destroy the righteous. Okay? But remember, don't forget the two types of sufferings. The two types. One is justified or is disciplined, and one is the bad record of the evil of their people. So those that killed Zechariah in the temple, was that discipline for ill or wrong that he did? No. No. It was to condemn those that threw the stones, right? Those that put Jeremiah into the pit. Was it because Jeremiah was the devil the Bible speak of? No. It's because hey, for the sake of the truth, right? John the Baptist, this brother, man, he went out into the wilderness. He was teaching the people. He was edifying his own, okay, and others. He was edifying his own and others, okay, all the way up until he was put to death. Now watch this. Matthew chapter 14 and verse 3. Matthew 14 and verse 3. For Herod had laid hold on John and bound him and put him in prison for Herodias' sake, his brother Philip's wife. For John said unto him, it is not lawful for thee to have her. So he was not only correcting his own, he was correcting the heathen. Okay. Most times too, man, hey, I just leave them alone. There's no, in my eyes, there's no need even to correct them, man. But John, he felt the need to, he was compelled to, so hey, that's what he did. It says, and when he would have put him to death, he feared the multitude because they counted him as a prophet. So John corrected him. He was going to kill him right there on the spot. He didn't kill him. Why? Because the people. He was afraid of the public, scrutiny that he would receive. They might try to kill him for killing one of their prophets, right? So he played that real carefully. It says, but when Herod's birthday was kept, the daughter of Herodias danced before them, pleased Herod, whereupon he promised with her an oath to give her whatsoever she would ask. And she, being instructed of her mother, said, give me here John Baptist's head in the charger. Give me here John Baptist's head in the charger. I want his head. Off with his head. Right? It says, and the king was sorry, nevertheless, for the oath's sake, and then was set with him at meat. He commanded it to be given her. And he sent and beheaded John in the prison. They went and cut that man's head off because he told the king, man, you trying to deal with your brother's wife, man, it's not good. It's not good. Okay. So it's always accounts of the righteous suffering wrongfully. Many accounts. Another account, James. Let's get James. Acts chapter 12, verse 1. You have Stephen. He was stoned. And those that consented with Paul or Saul at the time, and those that was persecuting the church, they laid his clothes at the feet of the apostle, as almost like, here, we did this for you. We seek your approval type deal. Disgusting. So not only do we suffer at the hands of the heathen, we suffer at the hands of our own, wrongfully, okay, and lawfully, right? Acts chapter 12 and verse 1. Now, James. Now, about that time, Herod the king stretched forth his hand to vex certain of the church. And he killed James, the brother of John, with the sword. So killing John the Baptist wasn't enough. He killed James. Okay. He killed James as well. So his murderous intent was heavy. The suffering that he was going to bring forth upon the children of Israel, man. Herod, he didn't care. He was trying to kill us all. He tried to kill the anointed Savior. Okay? These men did no evil, no wrong, no harm. So based upon the two types of suffering, discipline for breaking the law of God, or wrongful affliction, this falls under wrongful affliction all day, every day. Why? And it's going to be evidence against our oppressors, but why? Herod going to be judged because of this. Herod's going to face judgment because of this. Edom, they're going to face judgment because of this. A lot of people don't want to hear that. They don't want no parts of that. Okay. Peter. So James was put to death. John was put to death. Now let's talk about Peter. Acts chapter 12 and verse 3 now. Acts chapter 12 and verse 3. Jump down. And because he saw it pleased the Jews, so they killed James. And that thing pleased the Jews. It pleased the disgusting leaders of our people, the vagabonds of our people, those that were in knee deep in mire of iniquity of our people. It pleased them. So because Herod saw that they like that, huh? Oh man, okay. It says, and because he saw it pleased the Jews, he proceeded further to take Peter also. Then were the days of unleavened bread. So that was during the time of Passover. He took Peter as well, right? It says, and when he had apprehended him, he put him in prison and delivered him to 4 quaternions of soldiers to keep him, intending after Easter to bring him forth to the people. So he was trying to hold him in war, because they historically, what they started doing, they started celebrating the dates and times of our high holy days. Mind you, it says Easter here. Okay, they weren't celebrating Passover or the Feast of Unleavened Bread. They were celebrating Easter during the time that we were celebrating our high holy day. So it made the conversion of our people. It made that easier for them to palate, easier for them to follow the idolatry, rather than, give them a different date or different time to worship. Okay, so during this time, it was during the time of Passover. So we were celebrating Passover. They were celebrating Easter, right? And during that time, he went and took Peter and put him in prison until the celebration. See, it wasn't because of Easter that they were celebrating Easter. No, it was because we were celebrating Passover, and it was laws and stipulations. It was guidelines that we couldn't put anyone to death. There was, no. Remember, Christ had to be taken up the cross before Passover rolled in and things of that nature. So dead bodies had to be buried. Okay, it was guidelines, it was commandments as to how to deal with bodies and stuff like that. And he didn't want it to seem as though he was going against what we believed. Okay. So he imprisoned him. He held him for the Feast of Unleavened Bread. So he actually, in all actuality, he caused that man not to even be able to celebrate the high holy day. Okay. We read throughout 2 Corinthians chapter 11, right? Paul runs the full gamut of sufferings that he went through. The labor, the stripes, the imprisonments, the deaths, a fear of death often, and things of that nature. Like he went through the full gamut of suffering wrongfully, and all he did was try to keep the commandments and help his people do the same. Okay, but when Paul was near his death, he said something that was heavy, that really inspired me. 2 Timothy chapter 4, real quick. 2 Timothy 4 and verse 6. 2 Timothy chapter 4 and verse 6. For I am now ready to be offered, and the time of my departure is at hand. He said, I'm ready to be offered. Time of departure is at hand. He knows he's about to die, but watch this. I have fought a good fight. I have finished my course. I have kept the faith. Henceforth, there is laid up for me a crown of righteousness, which the Lord, the righteous judge, shall give me at that day. And not to me only, but unto all them also that love his appearing. So Paul near death, man, he understood the sufferings that he went through. It was for that crown. It was for that crown. Okay. It was confirmation that all those things that was prophesied, they had to happen. And, all praise to the Most High, we can see historically that they did. We know historically that those accounts, they came to pass. Okay. And when you read second Ezra, let's get that real quick. Second Ezra chapter 1 in verse 32. When you read second Ezra, this is confirmation that the prophets were supposed to get killed. The prophets are supposed to, be persecuted. They're supposed to suffer. They're supposed to suffer. Watch this. Second Ezra chapter 1 and verse 32. I sent unto you my servants, the prophets, whom ye have taken and slain, and torn their bodies in pieces, whose blood I will require of your hands, saith the Lord. So when these prophets, when they suffer wrongly, it was for the documentation of those that put their hands on these prophets. It wasn't because the prophets was the devil. It wasn't because they were evil. No, 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 no. That's why the Lord said, whose blood I will require of your hand. See, that's not discipline. It's not correction for a fault. That's innocent blood being shed, entering into the record books in heaven. Those books that's going to be open, that's innocent blood that was shed. That's the prophet's blood. That's the apostles' blood. That's you and I. That's our blood. Righteous men they try to silence them through violence and things of that nature. Not realizing that their suffering became evidence. Our suffering is evidence. Evidence against the wicked oppressor, evidence against our own. These things must come to pass. These things must happen. They got to. So that our God can remain that just God, that righteous God, that holy God, that brings forth righteous judgment. Because if he was to kill the nations, if he was to destroy the nations for anything that they did or didn't do, they would make him a liar. We know that ain't the case. Verse 33. Thus says the Almighty Lord, your house is desolate. I will cast you out as the wind doth stubble. So our houses became desolate. We were cast out of our land. Okay. Now, when we were cast out, why were we cast out? We ain't talking about the prophets that did the work of the Lord that was, slain and torn to pieces. We ain't talking about them. Nah, we talking about those that erred. Those that, broke the covenant. They received discipline. They received correction. Their blood wasn't, innocent blood, so to speak, right? We got to understand something about wrongful suffering, man. Oftentimes, you ain't got to do nothing. You ain't got to do nothing. Just be you. Just be you. Christ, he walked this earth, man. He was just doing the Father's business, man. From a young age to the time that he died, man, he was just doing the Father's business. He wasn't trying to boast or nothing. He was just doing the work that the Father sent him to do. And what did they do? What did they do? They rejected him. They murdered him. Look at it. John 1 and verse 11. Now we know it was choice that believed on him, but it was a lot that didn't. It was a lot that didn't. And because he came speaking the truth of God, the pure, providing that pure water, our people, they love the mire. They love the disgusting water. They love lies. And because they do, they wanted him to suffer. Every time he spoke, every time he declared what thus says the Lord God, they wanted him to suffer. John 1 and verse 11, it says, he came into his own, and his own received him not. He came into his own, but his own received him not. He was rejected by his own. But watch this, though. But as many as received him, to them gave he power. So everybody didn't reject Christ. chief priests, the scribes, the elders, the Pharisees. Okay, they rejected Christ. It was a lot of men in high places that actually rejected Christ. But when he came unto his own, meaning his own people, a lot of them rejected him, right? Verse 12 says, but as many as received him, to them gave he power to become the sons of God, even to them that believed on his name. So you can't say, hey, all Israel didn't believe. Nah, it was a remnant. It's always, in every generation, it's always a remnant that actually believes, man. Always. And that remnant, they always suffering, ain't they? They always getting jacked up. They getting tore up. It's always a small remnant. Okay. And why is that? Why is that? Why was Christ rejected? What did he do? Remember, the scripture says the chief priests, the elders, the council, they sought false witnesses against him. They was looking for liars to lie against him. They was doing whatever it took for them to fulfill their will. They was doing whatever it took, man. They was like, yo, hey, just say he worshiped Beelzebub. Just say, hey, he's a glutton, he's a wine bibber, he's a drunk, hey, he's disobedient, man. Just say whatever. They were trying to get false witnesses to just line Christ up, man, so they could put him to death. Line him up so they could put him to death, man. But Christ says something in Matthew 23. Jerusalem, oh, Jerusalem, Jerusalem. Watch this, Matthew 23 real quick. This spirit was running rampant amongst our people. But listen to what Christ said. Matthew 23 and verse 37. O Jerusalem, Jerusalem, thou that killest the prophets and stonest them which are sent unto thee, how often would I have gathered thy children together, even as a hen gathered her chicken under her wings, and ye would not. You killing the prophets. You stoning them with stones. They were sent unto you to gather you, to bring you to protection. You didn't want that. You didn't want that. So because you rejected it, more suffering, right? See, Christ is the highest form of wrongful suffering. But because our people rejected it, more suffering had to happen. Hence, 70 AD, Luke 21. When you shall see Jerusalem compassed with armies, then know that the desolation thereof is nigh. That destruction that was prophesied, that thing is close. That thing is close. Okay. But Christ suffering, Christ being rejected. Okay. What does it solidify? Well, it seals a few things. It seals the evidence against Rome, first and foremost. Remember, when evil is done to the righteous, it's evidence against them. So it serves as evidence against Rome. That's who was in rulership or in power, right? Herod and Pontius Pilate and the rest of them, Nero and all of them, right? And it sealed our judicial phase, so to speak. Okay. The blood of Christ, again, man, that's the greatest charge against these nations, man. Against our own people and against the nations, but mostly against the nations. Think about that for a second. Okay. And when you think about our nation as a whole and the suffering that we endured and that we went through and that we go through today, man, the Assyrians, the Babylonians, when you go to 2 Kings, okay, Daniel 9, Baruch chapter 1, you know, we was destroyed. We suffered many things. We were sold to nations. Not for our destruction, but because we made God mad. Some suffering is justified. Us being sold into slavery. People say a lot of times They say, man, Deuteronomy 28, man, that's what brought me into this walk. That's what got me into this truth. That's, man, that scripture right there. We were sold into slavery for a reason, man. Sold the nations. Why? The wrath of God was and still is upon us. Us being delivered to our enemies, gift wrap pretty much. Okay? That's because of the punishment. That's the discipline right there. That's the flip side. We weren't righteous. We deserved it. That's the flip side of that thing, man. That's the flip side. Let's get that in Baruch 4. Baruch chapter 4 and verse 6. Let's get that. Baruch chapter 4 and verse 6. Says, you were sold to the nations, not for your destruction, but because ye moved God to wrath, you were delivered unto the enemies. For ye provoked him that made you by sacrificing unto devils and not to God. So we pissed God off, man. As we commonly do. As we commonly do. Okay? We pissed. Hey, listen. Look at how bad we fallen. We fallen so bad that the Lord sent a king of the other nations to allow us just a little bit of freedoms. And we start praying that the Lord allow this king to live forever. Lord, let the king of let Nebuchadnezzar live forever. Oh, long live the king, long live the king. That's how bad we fallen. It's crazy. It's crazy. Jump to Baruch chapter 1. We're gonna read that. Baruch 1 and verse 11. Long live the king. Watch this. I'm gonna read verse 10. It says, and they said, behold, we have sent you money to buy you burnt offerings and sin offerings and incense. Prepare ye manna and offer the altar of the Lord your God. And pray for the life of Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, for the life of Bathasha, his son, that their days may be upon earth as the days of heaven, that they have a long life. Why would we pray for the long rule of a foreign king? Why would we do that? But watch this. And the Lord will give us strength and lighten our eyes, and we shall live under the shadow of Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon. Why the hell would you want to live under the shadow of a foreign king? Why is that? Why are we praying for that thing like it's a good thing? Look how far we've fallen as a people. How much suffering we've endured as a nation. It's crazy. It says, under the shadow of Bathasar, his son, and we shall serve them many days and find favor in their sight. We're looking for the favor of these kings, asking our God to bless these foreign kings with a long life and long rulership so we can serve under them. Because their suffering was a little less than the others. We still was in bondage. We still was suffering. We still were going through it. Okay? When the 10 tribes in 2nd Ezra, they were carried away prisoner. Okay? During the time of Hosea, what happened? We were led captive, carried over the waters to other lands, other places. Okay? To the point where they had to try to escape. See, when you look at even when we do evil, when we're wrong, when we commit acts of iniquity, right? Captivity always begins as discipline. Like, when we went into captivity and the nation start just killing us, they go above and beyond, man. They go above and beyond. They turn it into like exploitation, like, I got you. You know what I'm saying? That's where the correction is now cruelty. You know what I'm saying? Discipline at that point, even though we did wrong, it then becomes evidence. When they go above that line, when they cross that line, they go above and beyond. That's where the discipline that we were supposed to receive, that's when it becomes evidence against them. That's when it becomes evidence against them. Okay? But the Bible always showed us, what always gave us examples about the righteous being afflicted for no reason. Us being afflicted for no reason other than we love God, other than we keep the commandments, and we honor the oath that we made with the Most High. Okay. But the prophecy of us being afflicted, it should make a callous. It should prepare us for those sufferings, those things to come, whether right or wrong, whether it's for discipline or whether it's because you deserved it. Okay. Psalms 44 and verse 17. We're almost done. Psalms 44 and verse 17. All this has come upon us, yet have we not forgotten thee, neither have we dealt falsely in thy covenant. So even though we're suffering, even though the righteous are afflicted without cause, without reason, without rhyme or reason, right? We got to keep this posture right here. We got to keep this energy. We got to keep this energy. All this has come upon us, yet have we not forgotten thee, neither have we dealt falsely in thy covenant. Our heart is not turned back, neither have our steps declined from thy way. Though thou hast sore broken us in a place of dragons and covered us with the shadow of death. If we have forgotten the name of our God, or stretched out our hands to a strange God, shall not God search this out? For he knoweth the secrets of the heart. Yea, for thy sake are we killed all the day long. We are counted as sheep for the slaughter. We're counted as sheep, man. The righteous, they're going to be afflicted. We're afflicted today. We're still going through it. It's never going to change. We're going to be scattered. Okay? Our children snatched and taken from us. Families destroyed. Right? Nationalities forgotten. Understanding misplaced. Okay? It was prophesied that we would be scattered when you read Deuteronomy 28. As we read earlier, those words by the mouth of Moses, those things was going to testify against us, man, if you kept the commandments or if you didn't. Right? See, but the nations, again, the thing that's upon us, the sorrow or sufferings that's upon us for the sake of discipline, for the sake of the wrath of God. Remember, the nations, they take that thing above him. They go overboard, man. Y'all know they go overboard. Y'all know they go overboard. And when they do, if and when they do, okay, not if, but when they do, watch this. It's judgment. It's judgment. Joel chapter 3 and verse 1. For behold, in those days and in that time, when I shall bring again the captivity of Judah and Jerusalem, I would also gather all nations and will bring them down to the valley of Jehoshaphat, and will plead with them there for my people, for my heritage Israel, whom they have scattered among the nations and parted my land. And they have cast lots for my people, and have given a boy for an harlot, and sold a girl for wine that they might drink. Yea, and what have ye to do with me, O Tyre and Zidon, and all the coast of Palestine? Will ye render me a recompense? And if ye recompense me, swiftly and speedily will I return your recompense upon your own head. Because ye have taken my silver and my gold, and have carried it into your temples, my goodly, pleasant things. The children also of Judah and the children of Jerusalem, ye have sold unto the Grecians, that ye might remove them far from their borders. So these nations, I'm telling you, these nations got some explaining to do. They got some explaining to do, man. Verse 7, behold, I will raise them out of the place whither ye have sold them, and will return your recompense upon your own head. And I will sell your sons and your daughters into the hand of the children of Judah, and they shall sell them to the Sabeans, to a people far off, for the Lord have spoken it. Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles. Prepare war. Wake up the mighty men. Let all the men of war draw near. Let them come up. Beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say, I am strong. So, hey, you're not gonna study war no more. All the evils of your weaponry, those weapons of the warfare, the carnal weapons, they're gonna be destroyed. All that stuff, man. It's gonna be judgment on those who devoured us. Judgment on those who scattered us. Okay, although it was for our correction, although it was for our discipline, guess what? It's still, hey, when they go above and beyond, it's evidence against them. It's evidence against them. Okay, and the Lord, man, listen. In Revelations, it says, "He that leadeth into captivity shall go to captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword." In Jeremiah 30:16, it says, "Therefore all they that devour thee shall be devoured, and all thine adversaries, every one of them, shall go into captivity." So that means that every nation has to be adverse to us. And we can look through our records and see historically that every nation's got our blood on their hands. Every nation is guilty. All they that spoil thee, every one of them, every one of your adversaries, everyone that spoil you, everyone that preyed upon us. The Lord said, all that prey upon thee will I give for prey. They're gonna become the prey. The hunter is gonna be the hunted. Okay. And when the righteous cry, the Lord hear it, man. He gonna hear it. He's gonna yet hear us again. He gonna hear us again, man. Because the promise of, that reversal of our plight, the promise of us taking the kingdom. Remember, the saints shall take the kingdom. Where the kingdom suffered violence, and the violent took it by force. And we suffering right now in the midst of that thing. We gotta have hope that, that the Lord God gonna honor his promise. We gotta understand what's going on. We can't be oblivious. Suffering wrongfully, we suffering with a purpose. We suffer with a purpose. Every nation has to do us dirty, and they have to fill their cup up to a certain level. Once they reach that certain level, all right, that nation is sealed. This nation is sealed. Rome is sealed. Greece is sealed. Spain is sealed. All these nations, man. All these nations is sealed. Okay? Because, again, the time that we were supposed to be disciplined and corrected, they went above and beyond. They went above and beyond. So, do we suffer wrongfully? Of course we do. You better believe it. Okay? But our suffering got two meanings. Our suffering has two meanings, as we spoke earlier. Okay? Some suffering corrected us. Majority of the suffering condemned the nations so that they fit the prophecies. Okay? They have to fit the prophecies. So we got to go through some things, right? The prophets, they suffered wrongly, right? Christ suffered wrongly. Israel today, yet this day and age in 2026, we're still suffering wrongfully. But that suffering is not wasted. It's recorded. It's weighed in the balance. It's measured. And it will be answered, man. See, when we sin, we're going to be judged. When we obey, we still afflicted. We still going to suffer. See, but the difference is, when we obey and we're afflicted for that thing, the nation is going to be judged because of it. It's going to be used as evidence against them. Okay? That's why no nation on this planet, no nation under heaven has suffered like us. No nation. And that's why no other nation is going to be restored like us. No nation gonna receive of the promises like us, man. So suffering, hey, two types. Is it good? Is it bad? You be the judge. But according to the Lord, All suffering is needed. Thing is needed, man. Okay. So to those who suffering right now, man, I pray for strength for you, brothers and sisters, that you can overcome, that the Lord can strengthen you and pull you out of that evil or that situation, man. You might be struggling, suffering inside yourself with depression and doubt and lack of faith and lack of hope and things of that nature, man. I pray the Most High remove that spirit and give you a zealous spirit, a spirit that's really, um, you know, happy to keep the commandments of the Most High, man. That's what our prayer should be. Okay, but that's our class for the night. That's our class for the night. I pray you brothers and sisters receive some edification. Um, we gave accounts of historical suffering amongst our people. Okay, based upon us breaking the covenant of God and being judged, based upon injustices, um, and eventually it's going to lead to the collapse of many nations, the destruction of many nations. Okay, but again, our suffering ain't just one thing. It's a myriad of different things. Okay, it's discipline, it's wrongful affliction that turns into evidence against our oppressor. Right. But that's all we got for today's class, man. Again, I hope it was edifying to your brothers and sisters' spirit. Lord's will, y'all got some understanding. We gonna this is the summation of the class today. We're gonna touch on something a little different this Sabbath. But that's all we got, brothers and sisters. Any questions before we close out? Any questions before we close out? All right, I don't see any questions. If y'all have some from now till the Lord Sabbath, y'all know where to reach us, info@heirsofvisual.org. Or you reach us on the website at www.heirsofvisual.org. All right. Don't forget our weekly classes are Tuesday and Thursday, 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time. On the Lord's Sabbath, we starting sharp 5:30 p.m. Eastern. Okay. That's all we got, brothers and sisters. Don't forget, send up prayers for one another. Don't forget to be a blessing to one another. All praises, man. All praise to the Most High. Hey, appreciate you too, brothers and sisters. Thank y'all for tuning in. Lord's will, we'll catch y'all on the Sabbath, if life lasts and the Lord allow. Till then, family, shalom. Peace and blessings to you all.